What's going on, guys? Echo here, back again to talk more about the latest DBFZ patch, and this time we're talking about Lord Frieza himself. Frieza is a character that has had one of the bumpiest rides of any character in this game. There was a long period of time where he was considered almost unusable. There was another period of time where he had one of, well, actually the worst matchup in the entire game. There was the time when they nerfed Golden Frieza into the ground. He's had a lot of interesting points in this game, and sadly, lately he's been considered one of the worst characters in the game, with some of the biggest need for buffs of any character. Did he get what he needs? Has he been saved from bottom tier? That's what we're here to talk about today, so let's just hop right into it. So to start things off, I want to talk about the least impactful change in my opinion. I just want to kind of get it out of the way. They buffed You Must Die by My Hand, Frieza's Wake Up level 3. They went ahead and buffed the damage on it. So this change is designed to help Frieza with his solo TODs, or just for his, like, you know, unique combo opportunities, just any opportunity where you can combo into this by yourself. It will now do more damage. More damage is always good, so I mean, definitely a good change, but it's not exactly going to change the way the character's played, but it is a nice change to have nonetheless. So now, moving on to his more impactful changes, the first one we're going to go over is his Crouch Heavy. They actually sped up the startup of this attack. Frieza's Crouch Heavy used to be about 17 frames. The move was actually so slow that you could not string into it without a gap, but now that it comes out in a very fast 15 frames, you can actually string into this no problem without the opponent getting the option of reflecting or doing a reversal. Definitely a nice change. It's good that Frieza has more block string options, especially in golden form. Now when you're using your reverse beats, you have even more options to cover yourself without any gaps. Not to mention you'll be able to zone even more confidently. Next is his 5S, his Standing Ki Blast. They went ahead and sped up this attack startup as well, and this is now the fastest Ki Blast in the game, coming out at a whopping 9 frames. A single digit Ki Blast. This is insanely quick. I mean, this was already fast before. It used to come out at 11, but now that it comes out at, you know, again, an insane 9 frames, Frieza will definitely be able to pelt people from a distance, and combined with the speed of his 2H and the other options we'll cover soon, this is a pretty big buff to his overall zoning. Coming up next is the change to his 2S, his Crouching Ki Blast. Just like the others, this move now comes out faster. It comes out noticeably faster, actually. Before, you could see a slight pause between Frieza doing the flip and shooting the Ki Blast, but now there is literally no pause. The Ki Blast just comes out instantly. As you can see from up close, it hits at 12 frames, which is exceedingly fast. And this is a multi-layered buff because this move was buffed in the last patch. This move is actually whiff cancelable, which means even if it misses the opponent completely and hits nothing, you are still able to cancel it. So in a situation where you may be trying to knock the opponent out of the air, but you missed, you can still get your 2H, whether or not you guessed correctly on the angle, which is honestly pretty amazing. This is a very nice buff to go with the previous buff. This combined with the 5S buff and the 2H buff is going to definitely go a long way in keeping opponents out. The next buff, just like the others, is a sped up startup time. it is now his Jump S. This move right here now comes out much faster than before, 12 frames from up close. Sadly, this does not mean that you're going to be able to use it reliably to anti-air. I was really hoping that would be the case, sort of like the way Janemba's Air 2H works. I think something like that for Frieza would be absolutely ridiculous, but sadly, it does not work that way. You have to still be very preemptive. You cannot see the Super Dash coming at you and hit it. You have to be very quick. Very, very quick, basically unrealistically quick. But what's nice about this is it's not actually meant to be a neutral buff. This is strictly a combo buff. If you play Frieza at all, you know that this is a great move to tack on to the end of his combos, but sadly, it came out a little too slowly, so if the opponent had any sort of hit stun on them, it was most likely going to drop. You would have to actually make your combos short if you wanted to end with this, which is just kind of silly, right? Like, this is meant to tack on more damage and meter, but it's kind of defeating the purpose if you have to do a small combo in order to use a combo extender. But now Frieza doesn't have that problem, as you can do a pretty long stretched out combo with a lot of extra hits and it will still land. This is a really good change because it definitely opens up his combo game, gives him the opportunity to tack on a lot of damage from his own routes, from active tags, tons of situations where this will be very useful for tacking on some more meter and a little bit of extra damage in a situation where you might need it. Next up is another frame data related buff. As you can see, they really went after Frieza's frame data in this patch. But this is actually probably my favorite change, though on paper it may seem kind of minute, but it actually goes a long way in my opinion. It is a buff, of course, to his Death Slash Medium. This move right here. As you can see, they reduced the recovery, so this move on block is now -2. That is incredibly good, considering in most cases this is about the distance you're going to be from an opponent with Frieza. So the fact that you can do this move to check them, and if they block it, you can immediately act again with either the EX or your sped up Ki Blast. This is a very good change. Like, you can effectively kind of lock people down from this range now. And as you can see, when you're in the corner, this move is guaranteed to hit. So from about right here, Frieza can play a pretty strong, safe poking game. You know, you have this, you have this, you have this, you have this. Again, you can just do another one or switch to the light version since the light comes out in 15 frames. If you're met -2, that means the light would only be 17 frames, which is still faster than a medium. And you can even do the EX, when before, if you wanted to poke with it, you had to do 2 EXs. But now you can do EX into medium into EX, or EX into medium, whatever you want. Medium into EX into Ki Blast. It really does open up for some, you know, pretty decent mid-screen block strings. This is a very welcome change, and that's only for the grounded version. If the opponent is airborne, which they will likely be most cases in a match, it's actually +4, which is, again, pretty crazy. That is a lot for a move that's most likely going to be blocked in the air. That means they have no choice but to basically hold the EX if you were to do the EX immediately. And it would be very difficult to move from a Ki Blast, especially if you're even slightly close. As you can see, Frieza's Ki Blast from this range, from the medium Death Wave range, is hitting at about 14 to 15 frames. So if you're at +4, they're not going to be able to move very much, if at all. So this is a very, very nice change. I like this one a lot. And the last change we're going to talk about is a pretty fun one. They buffed 236S. They reduced the recovery on the non-camera effect version, which means if this doesn't make direct contact with the opponent, you now recover faster, which is great because that means at a distance, it will be harder for opponents to super dash punish you, which was pretty easy to do before. And just in your general zoning, it'll be a better tool. And best of all, thanks to this change, Frieza actually gets a little bit of mix now. Add in the fact that this also creates some new combo opportunities in the corner. This is a very welcome change. I never thought I'd see the day where Frieza has like any sort of actual mix. Sadly, it's not very good for high-low, as the move does have landing recovery, so you're not really going to be able to mix up the low option that easily, but you can still sneak in a varied amount of highs before you go low, and it's an option he didn't have before, so at the end of the day, it is more than welcome. All in all, the things that they decided to buff about Frieza, I do think are good. Each option is pretty decent to pretty great on its own, but I feel like when you put them all together, it does sort of culminate into something impressive. He does still have some very bad matchups, and some of his bad matchups did get buffed. Like, the game has a lot of strong anti-zoners now, and that's always going to be a big problem for Frieza. But this is a game where you can cover your weaknesses with assists, so I do think Frieza overall is better off than he was before the patch. Like, are these the most exciting changes? Not really. Are you going to play Frieza completely differently than before the patch, like some other characters? No. But can you play him more effectively? I would say yes. But that's going to do it for this breakdown. I really appreciate you guys. But once again, thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like. It does help a lot, and I appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next set of fun matches and guides. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.